Believing in oneself is a foundation on which all success can be built. Without self-belief, talent, skills, and opportunities in themselves are often squandered. Confidence is the strength for one to dare push the obstacles and go for your goals with courage. It begins in the mind. If you can see that you can achieve something, you are already heading to make it happen. Many people are stuck in self-doubt, often because of some past failures or negative experiences they have had. Sometimes others' opinions or judgments make it worse. A lot of societies impose limitations. Sometimes it is internalized, and it convinces individuals that they're not good or capable enough to do things right. The bottom line is, everyone has what it takes to be great. And the main thing is the change of perspective to acknowledge your own power. Self-belief has nothing to do with being arrogant or feeling better than someone else. Instead, it has more to do with the unwavering confidence a person feels to learn and improve themselves from moment to moment, as well as a confidence that, despite failures and weaknesses, there is hope. Nobody becomes a great master. Every master experienced uncertainty moments. It was his decision that distinguished him. Perhaps the most effective method for building self-belief is by taking action. Every tiny step toward achieving a goal serves to build evidence of your capabilities. Confidence, much like any muscle, gets bigger with usage. The more you challenge yourself, the more you prove to yourself that you are capable of dealing with more challenging situations. The more often this happens, the more that accumulation of tiny victories reinforces that sense of believing that you're able to achieve far more than you ever believed was possible. Another important aspect of believing in yourself is being aware of the way you talk to yourself. Self-doubt often comes in the form of negative self-talk. Phrases like, I can't do this, I'm not smart enough, or what if I fail? These thoughts can be incredibly destructive, holding you back from taking action. To counter this, consciously replace these negative thoughts with positive affirmations. Instead of saying, I can't, say, I will find a way. Instead of fearing failure, remind yourself that every setback is a lesson that brings you closer to success. Surrounding yourself with supportive and uplifting people also can strengthen your self-belief. Being around individuals who encourage you, believe in you, and inspire you makes a big difference. In contrast, keeping distance from toxic people who doubt or criticize you at every step will help you keep a robust and positive mindset. It is, after all, a decision that one makes every day, believing in oneself. Practice and persistence and the willingness to push past the discomfort that such an exercise causes will begin unlocking the full potential within. And so, first things first, learn to trust in yourself. No matter how the journey ahead of you seems. Self-doubt is one of the biggest obstacles between you and your goals. That small, persistent voice in your mind that whispers, you're not good enough, or what if you fail, can hold you back from taking action and reaching your full potential. The inner critic is often shaped by past experiences, fear of failure, or even external influences like societal expectations and negative opinions from others. However, the good news is that this voice is not an absolute truth. It is merely a pattern of thoughts that can be changed with awareness and effort. The first step to silencing your inner critic is recognizing it. Many people are so used to negative self-talk that they don't even realize it's happening. Start paying attention to your thoughts, especially in moments of doubt or challenge. When you catch yourself thinking, I'm not good at this, or I always mess things up, pause and question it. Is this thought based on actual evidence? Or is it just fear speaking? More often than not, self-doubt is an illusion. A false story you've told yourself for so long that it feels real. Once you identify these limiting thoughts, challenge them. Ask yourself, would I say this to a friend? If the answer is no, then why would you say it to yourself? Imagine encouraging someone you care about. Apply that same kindness and support to yourself. Replace negative thoughts with positive, empowering statements. Instead of saying, I'll never be good at this, try to say, I am capable of learning and improving. This change of words might sound really awkward initially, But the more you use those words, the stronger your new mindset will be. Another way of making your inner voice go quiet is to remember your past achievements, no matter how small they are. Whenever you begin to doubt yourself, recall moments when you won, overcame an obstacle, or made it through a difficult time. Learning a new skill, speaking out when you felt nervous, and completing a task that seemed insurmountable are all proofs that you're stronger than you believe. Writing down your accomplishments each day in a success journal can be an incredibly powerful tool to remind yourself of how much you've done. Visualization is also a good technique to change your mindset. Imagine yourself succeeding, achieving your goals, and overcoming challenges with confidence. The more vividly you imagine success, the more real it feels. Your brain does not differentiate much between imagination and reality, so when you keep visualizing positive outcomes, you reprogram your mind to expect success instead of failure. Finally, self-compassion. Everyone is at some point insecure, and nobody is perfect. Instead of beating yourself up for feeling this way, remind yourself that feeling this way is human. It is not the actions that one performs because of self-doubt that should define one, but the fact that one can learn to treat himself with kindness and patience like one would with a close friend. Silencing your inner critic takes time and effort, but with constant practice, you can replace doubt with confidence. The more you believe in yourself, the quieter that voice of negativity becomes. Taking the first step toward your goals is often the hardest part of the journey. Fear, uncertainty, and self-doubt can create a mental barrier that prevents you from moving forward. Many people tend to wait for the right time, the right plan, or for their confidence to magically appear before taking the step. The truth of the matter is, however, that confidence and clarity actually come from doing, not the other way around. The best thing you can do at this point is to take one single step, no matter how small it seems. One of the biggest fears most people have concerning the start is a fear of failure. The fear of making mistakes or not getting things right the first time can be intimidating. However, failure is not a sign that you are incapable. It is just part of the learning process. Every successful person has faced failures along the way. The difference is that they did not let those failures stop them. Instead, they used them as lessons to improve and grow. Shift your mindset so that failure is not perceived as something that sets you back, but rather something from which you take that first step. Another common block is overthinking. Many people fall into a cycle of analysis paralysis, thinking so much about what may happen that they never take the step. While planning is critical, overthinking too much can make a person do nothing. Instead of waiting until everything comes together, commit to taking one small step today. It doesn't have to be perfect, as long as it gets you closer to what you want. Progress, no matter how small, is still progress. Breaking your goal into smaller, manageable steps can make taking action feel less overwhelming. If your goal seems too big or intimidating, focus on just the next step. For example, if you want to start a business, don't worry about creating a full business plan overnight. Start by researching your industry, writing down your ideas, or reaching out to someone who has experience. Each small step builds momentum, and momentum leads to confidence. It is also important to understand that motivation comes after action, not before. Many people think they need to feel motivated before they start, but in reality, motivation grows when you see progress. Think about a time when you didn't feel like working out, but once you started, you felt more energized. The same principle applies to any goal. Starting is the hardest part, but once you begin, you create the motivation to keep going. Finally, remind yourself why you started in the first place. Reconnect with your deeper purpose and visualize the outcome you want. When you focus on the rewards and benefits of achieving your goal, it becomes easier to push past fear and hesitation. The first step is always the most powerful because it sets everything in motion. Don't care about how uncertain you feel. Act today. After starting, you will find out that you can do so much more than what you could imagine. Failure is one of those things which most people fear and dread. However, it can also prevent you from realizing your fullest potential. It seems that failure is definitely not the opposite of success. It's actually a component of the process of achieving success. Every great achievement is accompanied by some setbacks, mistakes, or hindrances. Rather than fearing failure, learn to embrace it as stepping stone for growth and becoming more resilient and self-improving. One of the largest reasons most people fear failing is because of a notion they carry that they will be defined by failure. To them, the failure implies a lack of quality or skill. It gives off the sense of not being good enough. But that could not be more untrue. Feedback in its entirety, failure informs you of what works, doesn't work, and what has room for improvement. Every single failure gets you one step closer to your destination. It was the case of all the most successful entrepreneurs, athletes, and people in the world. The only difference between these individuals and others was their strong will not to stop and instead to use it as a learning and adjusting process in an attempt to try again. How do you know that? Oh, makes me laugh. It's quite good. Very powerful change of perspective. The failure is a learning experience. Ask instead, what's the lesson here? When you switch your mindset from self-pity to self-improvement, you take hold of the situation. Every setback has some lesson that can make you stronger and wiser. Thomas Edison, for instance, failed thousands of times before successfully inventing the light bulb. He never regarded his failures as defeats, but lessons that brought him closer to success. Another virtue of embracing failure is resilience. By the ability to bounce back from failure, you are bound to separate successful people from losers. Whenever you experience a setback, always remember that it will come to pass. The fact that you failed once does not translate to failure for a lifetime. The basis is to keep moving even when everything does not go as planned. By every obstacle you clear, you get stronger for others. It is also helpful to redefine failure in your mind. Instead of thinking it is bad, think of it as something necessary for progress. If you never fail, it means you are not pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. Growth happens when you take risks and challenge yourself. The most successful people understand that failure is part of the process and look forward to it because it shows that they're actually moving forward. Lastly, remember that failure does not erase your previous successes. One can easily look at what was wrong and forget everything that went right. So take time and reflect on where you have gotten to, which challenges you've already overcome, and the skills you have learned. Recognizing your progress is going to keep you moving ahead with confidence. Failure is not the end of the road. It is just a detour on the path to success. Learn from it, grow from it, and keep moving forward. The only real failure is giving up.